Roll out!
Hello and welcome to That's Just Prime, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. So I found this guy at my local discount outlet store. As you can see, I paid 13 bucks for him, and it's just a generic super change robot, generic transforming toy action figure, as you can see. But he caught my attention because if you look at him closely here, you can see that his head is very much so inspired by Optimus Prime. And obviously he transforms into a red car. So I thought it would be fun to pick him up. He's cheap enough. I wanted to pick him up and do a custom paint job on him. I want to do an Optimus Prime inspired paint job on him. I want to do a blue head, the blue arms, silver torso, blue or silver, white, maybe white, I don't know, maybe I'll go with a cartoon style, I don't know yet, but the thighs and then the blue legs. So I want to do a custom on him and see how he looks when I get done with him, and then do an actual proper review if I get him to look enough like Optimus Prime. So again, as you can see here, he's still in the package. I've not opened him, I've not played with him, I don't know how he feels or anything like that. I don't know anything about this toy yet. You can see that the roof comes off. Maybe that's some kind of a shield or something like that. He's got a couple of weapons. There's a sword weapon over here. There's what looks like a gun over there. There's a launcher. Obviously some missiles. And this is pretty funny because he looks like he comes with a little dartboard that maybe you can use for target practice. So that's pretty funny. I'm actually really curious to dig into this guy and see what he's all about. He's got a Try Me feature. He's obviously got some electronics. He still has a little tab in there, and I haven't removed that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until I actually do the proper review so that we can find out together what it is that he does. So, you know, you press on, he's got a little button on his crotch, which is unfortunate, but when you press on it now, it doesn't do anything. Obviously it will when you remove the tab. So we'll find out about that later once we get into the actual review. Looking on the side here, you can see the same robot but in yellow. And then if you look on the back, it's a very simple 6-step transformation showing you what he's going to look like in car mode and in robot mode. And they use both color, you know, both of the variants for the back of the box here. They did have both of these in the store. And I went with the red one so that there's less paint for me to do. So there's that. Now my intention is for this custom, when it's finished, I want the car to be all red, but then the robot, I want him to be, you know, like an Optimus Prime paint job. So we'll see if I can manage to do that. Over here on this side, they have a white one. This is not the same toy. This is more of a Bumblebee looking toy. I got to see this one at the store too. It didn't really catch my attention all that much, but so there it is. There's what he looks like in the box. So I'm gonna go ahead and get him opened up, figure him out, take him apart, do some paint job on him, and then once I get done, we'll come back and do a proper review. Okay, so I'm all done painting this guy, and here we have Super Change Robot in his vehicle mode. He's a cool little sports car, I guess, and he rolls fairly well. Here in car mode, he is approximately 6.5 inches long and about 2 inches tall. So he's a fairly good size vehicle. He rolls okay, and he looks alright. He looks kind of like a BMW-ish little sports. It says it's a sports car, but he's got 4 doors, so I don't really know if I want to call that a sports car. But you know, he rolls okay. On the other side, you can see a lot of the robot down there. Not bad. He's actually got more paint apps than a lot of officially released Transformers do nowadays, so that's not terrible. As far as the quality for a knockoff, he does feel a little brittle for a knockoff. A lot of times you get, you know, knockoffs are always going to be a gamble. And like, for example, some of the ones that I've gotten, for example, the Robot Masters version that I got recently and the movie version that I got recently, they had pretty strong feeling plastic. With this guy, not so much. He's okay. He's not. Now I've had some knockoffs in the past that are so brittle that the minute you try to transform them, they just start falling apart. That's not the case with this guy. He's held together pretty well. I've completely disassembled them, painted them, put them back together, transformed them a couple of times, and he's held up to the test. But he does feel a little delicate. I am afraid of that if I pull something the wrong way, I might break him. It does feel that way with him, but not terrible. I'm relatively happy with this guy for being as cheap as he was. I actually got a pretty cool little toy out of this. I'm going to put him back, and we're going to look at some of the accessories that he came with. So first off is this assault rifle, and for whatever reason, it's translucent orange plastic, so it's completely see-through. And it's an okay-looking rifle, I suppose. However, he has no way of holding this in robot mode. In fact, none of the accessories that he came with, except for one, he's going to be able to hold with in robot mode. So that's a bit of a shame. So there's the assault rifle. I don't really feel any way in particular, good or bad, with this one. I really, this is just going to go into a part, into like a junk bin. The next one, he's got this sword right here. Now, I'm not familiar with this sword. This is definitely knocked off of some other existing toy, because it looks like there's a battery compartment in there, and like this might have been a button. Obviously, that's all been removed now. It's all gone. When you press, it looks like if you press on the original toy, if you pressed here, the sword would light up. And like I said, that's all gone now. It's just got this interesting looking sword. Now, this is a round peg for the handle here. So this is the only accessory that he is going to be able to hold with his hands when he's in robot mode. So there's that. And then probably my favorite, this thing is really cool. So you got this assault cannon here, which is really cool looking. I'm really enjoying the way this looks. And this comes with 2 missiles. And it's also got this cool little target. You guys remember seeing this in the box. So you can actually shoot at this and have a little bit of target practice, which is really cool. So you can actually insert the missiles in here. They're spring-loaded, and they pack quite a punch. And then you can just shoot at that. And as you saw right there, it does actually pack quite a bit of a punch. It's got a very strong spring. So those actually fly off with quite a bit of force. So I really, really like this cannon. I like these missiles. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, if you look at the handles right there, there's just no way that he can hold this in his hands when he's in robot mode. It's very, very unfortunate, because I really, really like this rifle. So, setting that aside, another thing, this isn't really an accessory, but this was the background inside of the box that he came in. He just had this little insert right there. And I thought it was really, really cool. I really like this insert. It's got an Autobot-ish looking symbol right here. It's not quite Autobot, but it's trying to look like one. And I like that a lot. I actually end up liking that symbol quite a bit. I might start using that for backgrounds. I'm not sure. I just dig it. I like it a lot. I think it looks pretty cool. So I'm going to leave that background there for the rest of this review, and I'll see how I like it. Once I go back and I see the video, I'll see if I like it or not. I may leave it, I may not. So we'll see. So getting into the transformation, like the back of the box showed, it's a fairly simple transformation. So this entire side of the car here is going to pop off, and these guys are just pegged in. And then these guys are on hinges. These doors here, they're on hinges, so you can just pretty much fold these any way you want. You're just going to want to pop them out and get them out of the way. So go to the underside of the car. Actually, before you do that, go to the, let's see. Do I want to go? Yeah. Go ahead and get the doors out of the way here. We're going to get the arms are pegged in on what's the bottom of the, and where the engine would be, I suppose. They're pegged right there with the biceps. So you can just go ahead and pop those off. And these do have a tendency to get stuck in there pretty good, so I don't have them pegged in all the way, because that again, it kind of feels like I might break them when I'm putting too much force trying to get them out of there. So just get the arms there and out of the way, just like so. Next thing, let me see. I'm going to flip these around because of something I want to show you later in robot mode. So we'll just leave those out like that. Go up here to the roof where I was going earlier, and we're just going to separate the roof of the car right there. And the entire thing is just going to kind of split in half, as you can see there. So go ahead and separate the legs and extend them. And then we're going to go down here to, they actually do click in place and stay in place rather well. Go down here to the bottom and pull out the feet. And then you're going to bring the whole front of the car up and over, and these 2 teeth right here are going to push in to these tabs right there and right there, and that's going to help us. The hood of the car is still pegged in there, and it's kind of hard to get in there to unpeg it. So when we push this in, it's going to push the head up and through, and that's going to help us get the roof out of there. So as you can see, the roof comes up, and then this whole thing is just going to peg through. When it pegs in, it actually pushes the head of the robot out. So there's the head of the robot. And now these doors here, we can do pretty much anything we want with these. In the packaging, you saw that they had them set like this, kind of like the wings, like that. So you can do that if you want, or you can bring them back like this and spin them around like I was doing earlier. If you don't want the too much cable showing in the back, if you don't want him to have door wings, you can do that. That does make him look a little bit shell formerish. You can also just leave them up like this and fold them back. You know, these guys are on double hinges back here, so there's all kinds of stuff that you can do with them. I haven't really quite decided what my favorite look for him is, so for the purpose of this review, I am going to put him as door wings, since that's the way that he was shown in the box. And there is our Super Change Robot, all transformed and in robot mode. Let's see if I can get him standing straight. And I am actually digging the look of this guy quite a bit. Let me get him standing there. There you go. So there he is in robot mode. I'm really digging it. Here in robot mode, he's approximately 7 inches tall. And as you can see, I've given him a paint job to look more like Optimus. If you remember previously, down here he had these legs were all red, and the thighs were actually blue. Then his entire body was pretty much blue. His waist piece, his legs, and his torso were all blue. Down here the shins were red. The arms were actually gray, and the head was also red. So the colors were just not there. And these just a little bit of paint detail on him just really kind of made him pop. And I'm really happy with the way that this came out. Bringing him in closer just so we can take a look at the head. Let me bring the camera up just a little bit. Check the head out. It was a little harder to see earlier when he was all red, but now that he's painted, you can really tell who that head was modeled after. I'm really digging. I really like that head sculpt a lot. I like it a lot. So there he is. Now, there was an unfortunate mishap during the disassembly and reassembly of this figure. Now, I am quite familiar with electronics, and I did have to do some desoldering to get, right here with the battery. Where the batteries are stored in, I had to get rid of some cables and take them all out of there just to be able to take them apart for paint and whatnot. And then I put them all back together. I had to solder everything back together. Well, before I even soldered everything back together, I tested all the electronics when they were outside of him. And the lights still work, but the sounds just quit working. And I completely rewired it. I put new wiring, new solder, everything. Just redid the entire thing all over again, and it's done. It's gone. The sounds are not working. I'm not terribly upset over it because it was probably one of the longest and most annoying sound effects that I have ever heard. So it's honestly not a big loss. The best way that I have found to describe it is if you're familiar with those car alarms that have like 7 different sounds or 8 different sounds that just keep going and going and going. Imagine the toy version of that. That's pretty much what he did. So what you would do is down here, there's a little button on his crotch, and you would press on that, and you can see the little light blinking right there from his waist, which is awkward. And the entire time that this is blinking, you can see the pattern changing. Every time the pattern changes, that would have been a new sound. And again, it's like that generic gunfire and generic explosion and then generic alarm sound just repeating itself, and it would just go on and on and on. Not to mention that while I was transforming him into robot mode and back again, that button gets pressed very easily, so every time you're trying to play with him, that sound would start going off. So I'm honestly not heartbroken about it. It's not a terrible loss. He still got the light. It's not the best light in the world. I may just take those batteries out of there and use them for something else. So, no big deal. Getting into the articulation, he's relatively well articulated. Unfortunately, nothing at the head. The head is static. He does not even turn. So that is unfortunate. As I mentioned before, there's dual hinges at the doors. So actually, technically, there's triple hinges. That screw down there, that's a hinge. This elbow right here, there's a hinge. And then this screw up here, that's a third hinge. That's the one that allows for rotation. So you can, like I said, you can move the doors anywhere you want. For whichever look you like the best. The shoulders are ball jointed, so these guys can go all over the place. Now there is a little peg and ball joint inside the chest there as well, so the elbow could go in and out, up and down, also for the transformation, and then like I mentioned, the shoulder there is ball jointed. So nice move, nice range of movement there with the shoulder. The elbows are also articulated, which allows for a nice range of movement along with rotation. Nothing at the waist. Again, ball joint at the hip, so these guys can go in and out, forward and backwards. They are going to be a little limited because of the molding right here. Then you have a hinged knee, and it doesn't stop when it goes forward, so he can kick forward like that, like a soccer player breaking a shin, which looks very, very painful. But he can go all the way back, and he can kick your face off. So not bad, not terrible, considering, again, once again, you have to consider the source. This is a knockoff toy, just a generic discount store knockoff toy, so he's not terrible. Now, earlier when he was still in the box, I had mentioned that I thought maybe the roof of the car was a shield or something like that. It's not. It's just that for whatever reason, he's packaged without it. So you can just pop the hinge in. When you get him, you just pop the hinge in, and there it is. The roof is just completely mounted. This flap, unfortunately, is not hinged, and it's on very thin plastic, so that could break at some point. But again, if this is something that, if you don't like, it's very easy to just remove it and set it aside. So there it is. There is our, I guess I can officially start calling him Optimus now, since I've painted him as such. In robot mode now, I'm going to go ahead and give him his sword so you can see what the sword looks like. And again, unfortunately, we can't see what he is going to look like with any of the other weapons because he can't hold them, which is just a shame. But again, for a $13 toy that I picked up at a discount store and was able to just do a fun little custom project with, I'm pretty happy with what I came up with. I like the way the paint job came out. Let me turn it this way so that we can still appreciate that paint job. There we go. I'm pretty happy with the way he turned out. I'm really digging, you can see I gave him a little bit of a stripe right there, and then the silver grill there, and I kind of went with just the traditional Optimus Prime paint scheme for this robot. And I'm happy with what I came up with. He's not the best toy in the world, but he was fairly cheap, and it was a fun little project, and I'm glad that I was able to pull it off and show it here for you guys. So I think that about covers our Super Change Robot, now one of my Optimus Primes for my shelf. What did you think of this figure? And do you have a figure that would you like to see me review next? Let me know by leaving me a comment down below. Give me some thumbs up. Subscribe and share with your friends if you like what you see. And I'll talk to you next time on That's Just Prime.